The Galactic Council chamber shimmered like a cathedral made of starlight, vast, circular, and cold. Every empire that mattered was represented there, from the crystalline Vexari to the scaled Threx dominion. The air was heavy with power and judgment, and at the very center stood one human, Ambassador Elias Wren, Earth's final envoy. Humanity was out of place here. No gilded armor, no glimmering plasma ornaments. Elias wore a plain black diplomatic suit, frayed at the cuffs, a small Terran pin on his chest, the symbol of a species that had clawed its way into the stars without anyone's help. The council speaker arose, a towering being of shifting glass and light. "Ambassador Wren," it began, its voice harmonizing in 12 tones. "Your species has violated the expansion accords. You have colonized beyond the soul boundary, ignoring all warnings." Elias's reflection rippled across the mirrored floor. Around him, 1,000 alien eyes watched in silence. "You were given access to trade routes, shared defense networks, and entry to the galactic concord, and yet you spread, taking worlds that do not belong to you." Elias's lips twitched faintly. "You mean the uninhabited wastelands you ignored for centuries?" The speaker's form pulsed with irritation. "Those worlds are protected. Humanity has trespassed." "Protected?" Elias echoed. "By whom? You? The same council that let the Enrai extinction happen because the mineral trade was more profitable?" A low murmur rippled through the delegates. The council didn't like being reminded of its own crimes. The speaker's tone sharpened. "Your insolence confirms what we already know. Humanity has no respect for order." "Order or obedience?" Elias said quietly. Every head turned towards him. The human's voice wasn't loud, but there was something in it, a resonance that cut through the layered languages of the chamber. "For centuries we obeyed," Elias continued. "We signed your treaties, bowed to your decrees, let our people starve while you taxed our worlds for your wars. We rebuilt your broken fleets, we cured your diseases, and now you demand tribute?" The silence that followed was suffocating. "You will surrender," the speaker hissed, "or humanity will face eradication." Elias took a step forward. The guards shifted, weapons humming softly, but he didn't stop. He stood beneath the council's central beam of light, the symbolic judgment of the galaxy. When he spoke, his words were calm, steady, final. "Humanity does not surrender." Gasps, outrage. Dozens of alien voices broke out at once. A storm of sound, fury, disbelief. The council's crystalline form flared white-hot, shards of light reflecting off every wall. Elias didn't flinch. He turned, transmitted a coded signal through his wristband, and began to walk away. Security drones moved to intercept, but the speaker raised a hand. "Let him go," it said coldly. "His people have signed their death warrant." As Elias exited the hall, he whispered into his communicator. "Transmission complete. Begin the Exodus protocol." And from the dark edges of the soul frontier, Earth's hidden fleets began to stir, silent, patient, and ready. The council believed they had condemned humanity. They had, instead, awakened it. The Dominion had always thrived on chaos. Their fleets were brutal, their soldiers fearless, their conquests merciless. But within days of the humans' arrival, the chaos began turning inward. It started quietly. Communications blackouts, sensor ghosts, patrols disappearing without distress calls. At first, Dominion commanders blamed sabotage. Then came the footage. A boarding team finding a flagship's bridge crew, all dead, untouched by weapons. The logs showed movement in the vents, whispers in Terran Standard, and then nothing. The Council's admirals demanded answers. General Holt, hissed the high speaker. "What are your people doing out there?" Holt's holographic image remained cold and steady. "You asked for the Dominion's defeat. We're ensuring it happens before the next cycle. You don't fight monsters by wrestling them. You erase the conditions that let them exist." On the frontier, human ships became rumors. No transponders, no signatures, only faint ion trails that vanished into asteroid fields. Where they passed, Dominion fleets stopped answering transmissions. By the third week, the panic spread. Commanders turned their weapons inward, convinced of spies among their own ranks. Entire squadrons fled to deep space, refusing to report for duty. Dominion intelligence intercepted fragments of human communications, but what little they decrypted chilled them. Phase 2 initiated. Command hierarchy compromised. Target cognition networks active. Requiem proceeding to silence protocol. The Council's military observers, placed among the humans to monitor their conduct, vanished without trace. One transmission leaked through before it was cut short. They're not fighting the war, they're rewriting it. Even the Council's own fleets began to feel it. Patrols returning from joint missions reported that humans never shared coordinates, never gave orders twice. They didn't celebrate victories. They didn't speak of losses. They simply moved on, efficient and eerily detached. In the Dominion capital sector, alarms howled across orbital defenses. A single black ship had appeared above the world, alone. Planetary scanners couldn't get a lock. The Dominion's defense grid opened fire. The ship didn't evade. It vanished between frames of video, reappearing directly above the ruling citadel. Moments later, every Dominion command frequency went dead. Survivors reported the same thing, a voice, calm and cold, speaking in flawless Dominion syntax. Your extinction is cancelled. Surrender or disappear. Within 12 hours, the Dominion's war coordination collapsed. Fleet commanders turned on one another. The war that had threatened the entire galaxy began to devour itself. In the Council's grand chamber, the delegates were silent as new reports arrived. Entire sectors liberated, worlds unscathed. But there was no celebration, only unease. One trembling advisor whispered the question no one wanted to ask. If this is how they treat the enemy, what happens if humanity ever decides we're next? General Holt's next transmission arrived without warning, no greeting, no context, just 7 words on a black screen. The execution phase is not yet complete. The Dominion War should have ended in triumph. The Council's banners fluttered over liberated worlds. Their fleets, though bloodied, had survived. Yet no one cheered. Every victory came with the same unease, the same shadow cast by humanity's silence. For weeks, reports trickled in from surviving sectors. Dominion governors executed in their sleep, their codes transferred to encrypted Terran databases. Cities found intact but eerily empty, their rulers simply gone. There were no broadcasts, no declarations of peace, only absence. The Council convened an emergency session. "The humans are destabilizing the balance," hissed the High Speaker, crystalline voice trembling. "The Dominion is finished, yet they continue to act as if the war persists." "They've gone beyond their mandate," another delegate snapped. "We must impose command oversight now." General Holt's image appeared in the center of the chamber before the vote could even begin. "You can't impose oversight, not on something you never understood." Her hologram's eyes were cold steel. "You built empires through diplomacy and fear. Humanity built its peace through necessity. We don't conquer. We remove what threatens the possibility of living tomorrow." The Council's security feed suddenly flickered. Across dozens of sectors, human fleets were vanishing from their registered locations. Entire battle groups gone dark. Council intelligence scrambled to trace them. Every probe sent to follow returned static or failed entirely. It was as if the humans had stepped off the galactic map. Then came the broadcast. A Dominion distress signal, raw and unfiltered, intercepted across the galactic network. The feed was shaky, showing the last surviving Dominion warlord screaming orders as explosions tore through the bridge behind him. "They're not soldiers," he shrieked. "They're executioners, machines wearing human skin. You think they fight for you? The feed cut out mid-sentence. Silence flooded the chamber. Every delegate felt the weight of those final words. The humans didn't respond to inquiries. The Council sent encrypted messages, peace offers, recall orders. Nothing returned. Meanwhile, across the stars, Dominion resistance ceased entirely, not through surrender, but extinction. Then, one by one, human fleets reappeared in orbit above liberated worlds. No fanfare, no salute. They simply delivered the Dominion's remaining archives, encrypted, sanitized, and complete, and withdrew without a word. Earth's representatives at the Council remained impassive. When asked for explanation, they offered none. Only one single phrase repeated through every channel in the same calm Terran voice: "Requiem has concluded." But the fear had already rooted deep. Council fleets began quietly repositioning closer to their home systems. Trade routes shifted. Even allied worlds stopped transmitting unencrypted data near human space. Humanity had saved them all. And in doing so, had reminded the galaxy that survival didn't always mean mercy. As General Holt stood alone aboard her flagship, Earth's blue marble distant through the viewport, she whispered to the silence, "They'll never ask for our soldiers again." And deep within the void, the Echelon Division waited, listening, ready, should the galaxy ever forget.
The war had ended, but peace felt like mourning. The Council worlds shone bright again, trade lanes reopened, and fleets returned to their ports. But every delegate knew the silence behind that calm wasn't peace, it was fear. Humanity had withdrawn, taking their black fleets with them. No transmissions, no ambassadors, just absence. 3 months later, the Grand Council chamber called one final session. The agenda was simple: containment protocols. The Varan delegate spoke first, his voice trembling through his translator. "We must never allow a single species to hold such power again. The humans act beyond law, beyond oversight. They could end any of us without warning." Murmurs of agreement spread, echoing through the chamber's radiant halls. Some called for sanctions, others for preemptive security fleets near Sol. Fear was a current no one could dam. Then the lights flickered. The holographic systems faltered, screens going dark one by one. A chill passed through the chamber as every delegate's personal display went black, then lit up again with a single transmission. General Area Halt appeared, not as a live projection, but a pre-recorded message. Behind her, the emblem of Echelon Division glowed faintly, the triangle crossed by 3 lines. Her face was calm, eyes steady, posture unshaken. "You called us executioners," she began. "And you're right. Humanity doesn't send soldiers to die in other people's wars. We send those who understand that mercy without reason breeds extinction." Her voice was steady, almost gentle. "When you begged for Earth's help, you weren't asking for armies. You were asking for survival. And survival requires a cost you were never willing to pay. So we paid it for you." The high speaker tried to mute the feed, but the system was locked. Holt's message played across every council world simultaneously, on every screen, in every language. You sit in chambers of light, debating peace, while others burn. Humanity learned long ago that talk doesn't stop the fire, it only buys time before the next one. We don't fight for conquest. We fight to prevent the need for another war. She leaned closer. Her eyes, even through the recording, held a weight that silenced entire empires. Be grateful, you'll never see us fight again. The message ended. For a long time, no one spoke. The chamber was filled only with the hum of failing projectors and the faint echo of a heartbeat that wasn't there. Over the following years, the galaxy changed. No one attacked another's borders. No one dared ignite new wars. The Dominion's remnants vanished into myth, and humanity, Earth itself, closed its gates to all outside contact. But sometimes, on the edges of known space, strange ships were reported, black, silent, with no signatures, watching. Always watching. They had called for soldiers. They had unleashed executioners. And long after the war's end, every star still whispered the same quiet warning: never summon humanity lightly.